They said the chapel had been abandoned for 100 years. They were wrong. Every night, someone or something lights a single candle inside and whispers a prayer in a voice that hasn't been alive for decades. Sophia had been walking for hours, her phone battery dead, and the forest path twisting in unfamiliar ways. The sky was darkening, clouds gathering like a warning. A sharp wind rattled the trees, sending dried leaves swirling around her feet. Just when panic began to creep in, she noticed a narrow, overgrown trail branching off to the left. Something about it felt inviting, yet unsettling. She followed it, and soon came upon an old stone chapel, its walls cracked and covered in moss, the wooden doors hanging loosely on rusted hinges. The air around it was strangely cold, as if the building itself held on to winter. A faint flicker of light danced behind the dusty windows. Sophia hesitated, but curiosity won over fear. She pushed the heavy door open, and it groaned like it hadn't been moved in years. Inside, the smell of damp wood and rotting paper filled her nose. Broken pews lay scattered, their splintered wood sticking out like jagged teeth. Torn prayer books and shards of colored glass littered the floor. Yet, at the altar, impossibly untouched by the decay, stood a single candle, burning steadily. The flame seemed too bright, too alive, in a place so abandoned. Sophia stepped closer, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The hairs on her neck rose, a deep instinct telling her she was not alone. Then, faintly, from the shadows behind the altar, came the sound of a woman's voice, soft and steady, chanting in a language she couldn't understand. Her heart skipped. The candle's flame flickered, and for a brief moment, she thought she saw a tall, dark figure standing near it. She blinked, and it was gone. The voice stopped. The silence that followed was heavier than the air itself. Sophia found a small inn in the nearby village, hoping for warmth and rest, but her mind kept replaying the eerie voice from the chapel. Over dinner, she mentioned the place to the innkeeper, an old man with trembling hands. The moment she spoke of the candle, his expression froze, and the color drained from his face. In a hushed tone, he told her about Sister Elena, a nun who once lived in that chapel long ago. She was said to be kind at first, but when thieves tried to rob the chapel's treasures, she turned to forbidden prayers, calling on dark forces to protect it. The villagers claimed her soul became bound to the building, cursed to guard its secrets for eternity. No one who entered after sunset ever returned. The innkeeper urged Sophia to leave the village by morning, but the story only deepened her curiosity. By the time the moon rose, she was already walking back down the forest path, drawn like a moth to the flame. The chapel loomed ahead, darker than before, yet the same candle burned inside, its light spilling faintly through the cracked window. She pushed the door open. It slammed shut behind her with a force that rattled the walls. The candle's flame flared bright, and from the far end of the chapel, a tall nun stepped into view. Her habit was pitch black, her face pale as bone, eyes like deep pools of shadow, her hands clasped together as if in prayer. But her gaze never left Sophia. In a voice both calm and chilling, the nun whispered, "You shouldn't be here." The air turned icy, and Sophia realized she had crossed a threshold she might never return from. Sophia's pulse thundered in her ears, but she forced her trembling voice to speak. "Why are you here?" The nun's lips curled into the faintest unsettling smile. Slowly, she stepped forward, her shadow stretching unnaturally across the cracked walls, swallowing the candlelight. "The chapel holds what must never be taken," she murmured, each word echoing like it came from a hollow grave. The floor beneath Sophia creaked, then split slightly, revealing a narrow crack from which a faint golden glow seeped. As if controlled by unseen hands, the stone parted further, and a small, ancient wooden box rose up on a slab. The nun's black eyes fixed on it. "It is my vow," she whispered, "to guard this, until the end of time." Sophia, compelled by something she couldn't explain, stepped forward and touched the box. Instantly, visions burst into her mind. Sister Elena, in chains, the villagers burning holy books, and the chapel engulfed in flames. Yet the nun standing, unburned, her hands raised in a vow to protect the box with her soul. The moment the vision ended, the nun's voice turned sharp. "Give it back." The air grew heavy, pressing against Sophia's chest, making it hard to breathe. Heart pounding, she clutched the box and ran for the door. It burst open on its own, and freezing wind whipped through her hair as she stumbled into the night. She didn't stop until the chapel was far behind. In her room at the inn, she opened the box. Inside lay a single candle, unlit. Confused, She set it on the table and turned away. But as the clock struck midnight, the candle lit itself, and a cold whisper brushed her ear. You took my watch. Now I'll take yours.